Trivia has learned how to be the most effective leader while not only caring about the importance of being a mentor or a coach, but cares about the importance of being a mentor as well. It is being a protege that's helped shape her to the woman she is today. Her platform helps other visionaries use their voice. We also have Ryan Dunston. He's a husband, a father of 3 boys, a community outreach coordinator for Hometown Lender, Mortgage Firm, a board member of the Why Not Incorporated, a public speaker, a motivational speaker, a co-owner of Dunston Association. He also is a host of Ryan Dunston podcast, Words from a Humble King, and he's also a fellow Toastmaster. I'm going to allow them to take the platform. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take it away.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be shaping this platform here as a podcast episode on the Toastmasters podcast, and we're going to interview Miss Trivia Payne here. So we're going to get started here. So Miss Trivia,
hey,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You're doing a lot of big things here, one of which is the Trivia Inspirational Radio.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
Nervous. I love it. It has given me purpose. When I first started, I did not know what I was doing, but I knew that it was something that I had to do. And I've been doing it for a while now, and it's becoming it's becoming important. It's becoming a passion of mine.
Yes. I will say that the Ryan Dunston podcast has also become a passion of mine as well, for reasons that we're getting ready to get into. I mean, let's tap into it.
Yeah.
Why is the Trivia Inspirational Radio station so important to you?
Well, when I started last year in the midst of the pandemic, I thought I would do this from my bedroom or in my dining room. And I was like, it's just something to do. And then God did something more than I could imagine. He gave me a space to have it, a whole new station to have a radio station in. And it allowed me the opportunity to give other people an opportunity to use their voices, because I thought it was going to be me. I rarely get on and do a talk show, but I went from 2 hosts last year, and now I'm up to 7 so far this year. And my goal is to have at least 22 or more hosts, this year. So it's became a way for me to amplify other voices, not just my own. So it's definitely important to me to have this platform.
So you're saying that this station, the purpose for the station is to have others amplify your voice. But dig into that a little bit. I mean, it's inspirational radio, right?
Yes.
So let's dig into the guests that you'll have on, or, ongoing relationships that'll come on and continue to do shows and, of everything of the sort. Why do you think that you set this platform up from an inspirational standpoint? What made your heart posture in that way?
So when I first started my own radio show, it was called the Encouraging Show. It was important for me to encourage the listeners, because I was going through some things and I needed my own encouragement.
Yeah.
Well, when the first 2 hosts came on, their platforms were completely different. And initially it was the thought of, well, what if they come on and they talk about the same thing? Well, that didn't happen. And in the interim, as we begin to build other hosts, every show is different. Every show brings a different flavor. And we'll talk about this later, but even your show with your wife is something different. It's not something that I would have thought that would be on the show, and I enjoyed it. And then we have business owners, we have authors. We've even gotten to a place where we don't just have hosts in Baltimore, we have hosts in Milwaukee, we have hosts in Atlanta, we have hosts in Texas. So because I know that everybody has a story, this is a platform where they can use tell their story, and not only tell their own story, but bring other people. Because as I'm seeing the growth, if I look at, okay, I have 2 hosts, but if each host brings another person to amplify their voice every week, we're reaching the masses.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm right there with you with my platform. The Ryan Dunston podcast was birthed out of pain, right? My pain became my purpose. I needed a way to vent. So it started off as just Facebook and Instagram lives, right? Now we post those IGTV videos. And it was just a way for me to get some things off my chest because, my past had become my purposeful future or moments, the reality in live moments for me. And the way that I would articulate my pain was beneficial for other people, right? And so the first season was all about anger and failure and everything that a Black man has to go through when he's grown up and in a broken home, no father, single parent household, drug addiction, alcoholism, all a part of it, right? And my wife was also in a broken home as well, abusive home, and we were broken in ways that we didn't quite understand. And for a long time, there were things in me that I couldn't quite understand, but they were aggravating me.
Oh yeah.
In a whole nother way, right? So the way for me to have some, relief and release, I had begun to vent. I had begun to let my pain out and then also share how I got over certain moments. And that was very therapeutic for me, right? So from the very first episode, I just didn't stop because it helped me. And because of that, now I have season 2 coming out. And all of it was birthed through pain, a testimony, right? A story, a reason to speak. And then other people found it inspirational. They found it, helpful. And it helped them the way that and this will get back into, multiple guests that you have and you're worried about them, bringing the same topics. There was a gift in me that was able to articulate my pain in a manner in which people would pick up on it, feel it, and know what to do with it in their own lives.
Yeah.
And it would help folk. It would help people. And I just think that I would do it in a different way, right? Same thing with the guests on your show. I think that most people have, all people have gifts. Everyone has a gift. So even if we're talking about the same thing, I truly believe that you're not going to talk about it the way I'm going to talk about it, right? Your perspective about it is not going to be my perspective about it, which will bring a fresh, organic feel to the very same topic, just from the other side of the truth.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because when we bring other people on our platforms, it gives them a relief. But when I think about just the concept of starting the radio station out of pain, it actually helped me to find my purpose. Yeah. And it was in that moment when I said, you know what, yes, I'm going to do it, that I began to get some release. And we talked earlier today, and I think that the most challenging part of being a radio station owner is that I have to be a boss. Mm-hmm. And now I have to revisit some of those painful places, mm-hmm. because when I talk about really having confrontation and things like that, knowing that, as we talked about, it's healthy, however, it's a different feel. Mm-hmm. And I love it because it's growing me and it's giving other people, because when they come on and they're talking about whatever the case may be, the pain that caused them to start writing a book, or what made them become their own business owner, mm-hmm. or whatever, I sit in my office while they're doing their shows, and I'm like, wow, somebody else is going through this. Yeah. Wow, somebody else overcame it. Mm-hmm. And again, it reaches not just Trivia's inspirational radio, it's widespread.
Yeah.
So if we can help anybody, because I didn't know the impact that I was having when I just started Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Years in 2018, I started Facebook Live, and I would get backlash from those who knew me, but those who didn't know me, when they would see me, they would be like, oh my gosh, that really helped me, that ministered to me, but I was doing it out of a painful place.
Yeah.
Now it looks different. And again, I don't do a show, but those who are coming on, I still take those things that were painful for me, and I make it as a part of the radio station. So if you're not going to come on and encourage, motivate, and inspire, then this isn't the radio station for you. But everyone that comes on has a message.
Sure.
Everyone has a voice. And because of Trivia's inspirational radio, some people who would never have done it actually has a platform to speak.
Yeah, for sure. No, like I agree with you. You know, it's going to be who it's for. That's number one. But then also number two, I'm like you. I didn't realize the purpose in it either, right? I was just venting. And, you know, public speaking was birthed out of this. And when I booked my very first speaking engagement in Mississippi, and I couldn't understand why they would want me to speak. Right. It was, you know, for me, I was just, you know, trying my best to self-heal.
Right.
You know, and out of that came, you know, I'm speaking and people want to hear perspectives of where I come from and how I came out of where I came from. You know, it really is. It's a surreal experience because when you're thinking about it from a humility standpoint, you don't see yourself that way.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
You know, but you mentioned that you birthed this thing out of the pandemic.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. I mean, how long did it take you to get this thing up and running?
Well, that is interesting because the pandemic was a blessing to me in so many respects. I mean, of course, we lost a lot of loved ones and things like that. But God was fueling me for some new things. So I became a Baltimore City educator in the midst of a pandemic. Mm-hmm. I became a 7-time author in the midst of a pandemic. And then towards the end, I started this radio station. Yeah. And I was told, oh, it's going to be so much money and it's going to be so much this. And I was ready to not do it. And I went on and I signed up and did everything I needed to do in December. And I became official in January. And then in February, it became real life to me. Mm-hmm. I started talking and sharing it with other people. And I've been running ever since, I would say, March of last year. And it's growing. It's doing what I thought it would do. I'm finally in a place where we're not out of the pandemic, but I'm in a better mindset. I have a better mindset. So I'm open to welcoming other hosts to come on and do shows and things like that, because I think that is important to be able to amplify your voice. And it's been tricky though with the social media platform and things like that, because I'm not one that says, well, how many followers do I have? Or how many people are actually listening to the radio? I just want it to be a platform that people can go to. So it's been definitely challenging because a lot of people, when they want to do a show, but they're like, well, how many people are following you? And my mind is like, well, how many people are following you? So I'm learning how to understand what's going on in this pandemic. Mm-hmm. Everybody is in the social media world right now. Sure. They can get on a Zoom, they can get on a StreamYard, but they want to know that when they're listening, it's 20, 30 people listening to them. So I have to do other things in the pandemic that I'm not used to, like marketing and asking for help and asking for donations and post this on your page type of thing. But it's been a great experience, even in the midst of the pandemic. Like I said, I've been doing this since, I made it over the 1 year mark. Mm-hmm. So, the pandemic did not stop anything, and it moved us quick. Money wasn't an issue. I'm not rich. I don't have money. I don't make money from this, but it definitely moved quicker than I thought it would.
Yeah. It sounds like it's growing you, which is a good thing. No, that's dope. I'd actually say Do you remember we had, I hopped on a call. If it were not for Robert Tyree,
Yeah.
shout out to Mr. Robert Tyree, because I would
Yeah.
not have launched my very first podcast. I would not be public speaking. I would not be in Toastmasters if he would not have said, man, you got to come to this show. I mean, you got to come to this club.
Yeah.
And, you know, at first I wasn't going to. You know, it was extra for me, and I was already becoming a loan officer, and I didn't know how to mix that in. But he was adamant, which I appreciate, because this has been one of the biggest, you know, experiences and growing experiences of my life. And during one of those meetings, we had a sub meeting after the initial meeting, and it was a writing experience. Yeah, I have ADHD, y'all, believe it or not. With all of that I have going on, focus issues is a big thing for me, right? So trivia, believe it or not, she actually got into my butt about writing. And she said to me, you don't know who needs to hear this. You need to write and stop playing.
Yeah, I remember.
And that stuck with me. That actually stuck with me. When you pair that to Rob and him in his aggressive, you know, pursuit of me actually joining Toastmasters and developing this thing, you know, it actually was confirmation when you were very, very firm and short, right? But for good reason, about me writing, and I never stopped.
Amen.
Right? And because of it, there's a book coming out.
Oh.
You know, yeah, Black Men Love. I'm a part of that project with a few other men, which is pretty dope. But you know, it was a start. It was a rough start for me too. But I'm glad that I said yes to that challenge. I'm glad that I said yes to Rob. I'm glad that I wrote when you asked me to, you know, and found my way in those spaces and decided to grow in those, you know, in those areas of my life, because it has blossomed me into something that I never knew was in me, right? Gifts in me came out of me that I didn't know were there. You know, abilities I didn't know were there came out as well. And this thing has been so unique. I've met so many people, you know, and I've also been able to love on more people just saying yes to YouTube, you know. So it's been pretty great. What would you say to a person that is struggling with finding their voice? I mean, a person that you know has a story, and you can't just dig into them like you dug into me. Right?
I can, but that might not work.
So what would you say to that individual who has a testimony, who has a story, and you know that it would bless other people's lives? What would you say to that person about finding their voice and then amplifying it?
Well, first of all, I would tell them my story. And it depends on what their story is, because God has allowed me to go through a lot of things. He's allowed me to overcome a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm still overcoming as we speak. And when I engage with women, men, even children, I always let them know that if you don't share your story, somebody else who's dealing with it won't know how to get over it. They won't know how to get through it. But more than anything, they won't know that somebody else is going through it.
Yeah.
Because when we go through our situations and we keep them to ourselves, or we feel like nobody's listening, or we feel like when I was a child, I tried to tell my parents, but they didn't listen. You're holding all of that pain in. And I didn't understand that I couldn't really write what I needed to until I began to deal with it, until I understood that I had a voice. And like I said, I'm still going through some things today, because if I don't let other people know that I'm going through a certain thing, then I'll never overcome it. I'll never accomplish it. You can do things scared, but when
do it anyway.
Do things scared, the outcome is bigger than you can ever imagine or ever dream of. And I'm just gonna give this example. When I was younger, I was molested as a kid a couple times. And last year in the pandemic, one of the persons who molested me passed away. And I remember looking at Facebook and I was like, I never confronted this person. I never told anybody about it. Spoke to my husband and other people. But something said, go to this other person and share with them what you're doing. So I went and I was scared. I did it out of fear. And I said, when I was younger, these things happened to me. I said, I'm an author now. I'm writing, and I never wanted to come back and be offensive to anybody. And the way that it was received, because I was able to amplify my voice and say, this is what happened to me. Not only starting with the person who offended me, but sharing it with other people who encouraged me to go out and use my voice. So now when I write about it in a book or when I'm talking about it in an interview, it doesn't bother me. I don't feel any guilt. I don't feel like it's anything that I did. I don't have any hard feelings towards the people who did things to me. I believe that when I was able to use my voice, I was free. So I would let people know, this is my story. You need to tell your story.
No, I'm right there with you, right? I believe that when you begin to speak, it's a release that is available to you that you didn't know was available to you. I agree with you there. I'd also say that for a person that's trying to find their voice, same thing. There's someone there that is going through what you're going through and need your know-how, right? I'm a firm believer that we struggle for people.
Yes.
Right. Specifically the ones who have a gift. If you have a gift to speak, you have a gift to articulate your pain in a certain way. And similar to your gifts to start a radio station, right? Provide that platform for people like myself to come in and speak. There is power, true power in a person listening to you and then feeling like, maybe I can get through this. For me, my tough spots were, of course, I come from a broken home and very traumatic past. Black men who do not feel or act like they do not feel are very, very much in pain, but we act out differently. It was important for me to be able to explain to a Black man how you can feel without having to put your masculinity in jeopardy, right? Being able to still be a Black man, feel like a Black man, and still express yourself.
Absolutely.
That was very important for me because there were things that I was going through that I didn't understand. But then, when you get that gift of hindsight, you're able to explain it a little better, right? You understand it with an overview that is quite clear at that point, right? Failure was big for me. I felt like because I didn't have the perfect reality in my past, I made one up. Right. There was no time for my father who died when I was 6, and my mom, who was also struggling with drug addiction, to talk to me about my feelings. So I had to do something with my feelings. I put them in my pocket, right? And I definitely didn't have the right reality or correct reality. I was not loved correctly, right? And no one taught me how to feel or how to express my feelings. But to be able to explain to a man that you could bounce back from all of that and all is not lost. And if you do change, which was another topic on season 1 of the Ryan Dunston podcast, you are able to conquer this thing. You're able to live here and on this earth and not feel like you should not be here, which most Black men feel like. There's true power in being able to find your voice or listen to someone who has found their voice to help you get through moments where you're in mud, right? Because when you're in mud, all you see is brown. And you can most certainly drown in shallow water, not knowing that all you had to do was stand up, right? But because everything is brown and you can't see, you just don't know that I can just simply stand up. You need a hand to bring you out that mud and to put you on your feet. That's what my platform had become to be. And I was able to see it once season 1 was completed. And I was quite proud of my pain at that point, if that makes any sense,
Mhm.
you know. But we're running low on time. So I do want, since you have a platform where people can come on and utilize their gifts to be able to be a hand to other people, be a voice to other people, and to love other people through the pain that they've had to experience in their past and had to endure in their past. How can they get in contact with you to maybe listen in, or to be one of these people to be able to express and utilize their gifts to touch other people?
Okay, so I will first start with email. I always check my emails, trigger, the encourager 43 at gmail.com. Again, the encourager 43 at gmail.com. We are also on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, you name it, we're on it. You can also listen to the radio station 24/7 on the web, Trivia Inspirational Radio, on the Google Play Store, Trivia Inspirational Radio with the colons in the middle of trivia, and also Trivia Inspirational Radio on what is it, Apple Play?
Mhm.
Yeah, that. So we are 24/7. Music is playing right now. If you love any kind of Christian music, it's all genres. And we are also live Tuesday through Saturday. We have live shows Tuesday through Saturday.
All right. Well, listen, to tap into the Ryan Dunston podcast, Words from a Humble King, you can simply download any app that streams podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, you name it, we're there. And you can also follow me at Ryan_Dunston on Instagram, Ryan Dunston on Facebook, True Kings as well on Instagram. And yeah, please tap in, listen in, because there's some things there that I'm sure can help someone. Or share, please share, because I'm sure, again, there's something in there that can help someone. But this has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me. I am actually a guest host on the MSU Toastmasters podcast. I'm Ryan Dunston, and this is Trivia Payne. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Listen, come off of mute. Show my family some love. Come on, y'all. Put in the chat, drop the emojis.
Yes.
Y'all fantastic. Awesome.
Listen, I'm not even going. Yes, I am. I'm gonna celebrate y'all because y'all did y'all thing. I know that's not proper grammar, but listen, I was Trivia. I remember when you walked through the door. I remember when we first reconnected, and the things you guys spoken about are coming true to pass. So just to see this moment, it's just amazing. It's just truly amazing. So I'm excited for even part 2 of this, right? Because we had a question and answer segment, and our VP of Education, Natasha Brown, will be taking it over. And she's been telling me, y'all got a lot of questions. So Natasha, take it away.
All right. Good evening, friends, family. It's so good to see you all. I'm so happy that you are here. I'm going to say, give it up one more time for our host this evening. That was so amazing. Thank you to our president for this vision that he had to put it together in this platform. I love it. I saw in Kenja in the chat saying that she loved the way that we did this. And one thing about this team is visionaries seeing beyond where we are. So I love that we just, keep trying to do that. I have some questions in the chat, and listen, please put some more in here. If you have some questions, I am going to start. How do you support a man heal pain without jeopardizing his masculinity?
Yes,
that's the first question. I'm going to bring you all back up on the spotlight.
So go ahead.
Yes. How do you support a man heal pain without jeopardizing his masculinity? And this is from a woman.
Well, every situation is different, right? Every situation is unique to the person. And of course, his route to healing is going to be strategic because it's going to be connected to the way that he was hurt. But communication is the biggest thing, and he has to be willing to be vulnerable. And you can't rush that, unfortunately, because every man is going to do it on his own time. Every man will realize what he's going through in his own time. And in most cases, it takes a circumstance for him to want to have to heal, because he's met a barrier in life where he's like, man, I don't know how to figure this one out. And it's getting tough, right? And for some, therapy is definitely there. Communication is also needed, but for most part, you need to hear other men. You need to be okay with hearing other men speak about their pain and communicate their pain and feelings. And then, energy is transferable. Once that begins to be your normal, it'll be, of course, it's going to be upfront. It'll be, he's going to be reluctant, but energy transfers and normally, energies align as well. So hopefully that's helpful. I can't necessarily pinpoint it, but hope and patience is also needed for that, King.
Excellent. I love that answer. And we have a resource right here, the Ron Dunston podcast, so you can slide him that link and have him catch up on session 1. The next question we have, how do you help men who don't know they're in pain, but their behaviors exhibit it? I'm going to repeat. How do you help men who don't know they're in pain, but their behaviors exhibit it?
Well, that's also a tough one because again, each individual man is going through something different. And there's also, there's some walls there that he has up. I'd say that being able to identify some of the things he's going through, and depending on how he acts out, for myself and for most men, our pain, our hurt come out as anger. Anger is people receive anger as, an attack. But instead of feeling attacked, if you can say, oh, wow, he's hurting, that would do wonders for that king, because if you don't come back at him, yelling back at him and screaming back at him, but you use your energy to drastically change the energy in the room, what's going on with you really? Because you are angry right now. And there's a reason why. You snapped on me, and there's a reason why. People are not edgy for no reason. There's a reason for it. What's wrong? What's really wrong, right? What's going on? Don't just tell me your day is good. What's really going on with you? Communication and really digging into that man and not going through his gate or over his gate, but going under his gate will be the best bet. Humility and patience will get that done for you.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for that answer. And thank you for your vulnerability. I will say that you both, your vulnerability in your interview and in the way that you're answering questions. I love it. I see frustration over anger. Somebody said, excellent question. Thank you. Keith said, that's good. Is there anyone else that has any questions for Trivia or Ryan? It can be about their whatever, honestly, about their podcast, about their journey to their platforms. Maybe someone is feeling froggy and y'all want to be a guest on any one of these platforms. Go ahead and shoot your question out. And listen, feel free to ask it yourself as well. I mean, if you would like to.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yes, I have a question. This is Robert Terry, president of MSU Toastmasters. Trivia. How does a person, I guess, organize a radio station? So I guess I'm also interested after just hearing you explain your story about being on a station. So how does one kind of organize their thoughts, or how can they feel? I guess my concern is like, man, I don't know about feel comfortable, you know, I'm in Toastmasters speaking on that platform. So like, what are some, like, I guess, encouraging words as well you could say that make somebody want to just jump out and take that leap of faith?
So Trivia's inspirational radio is motivating, encouraging, and inspiring. If you have that in you, even if you don't know that you have that in you, you are on the right platform. Because I feel like my term for 2020, 21, 22 has been, I'm not Nike, but just do it. Because if you think about something too long, you find all the reasons not to do it. But if you just do it, everything is going to come and everything is going to flow. If you have the mindset, if you have something that you want to talk about, there's other people that want to talk about it with you. Many people that come on the show, I mean, they have their own shows, they go to Facebook and they find people, or they know people in general under that same guideline that they want to talk about, and they bring them on. That's a support system. Because if you don't know what to talk about and you bring somebody on because you know their story, then they're gonna encourage you to ask the next question. I intentionally didn't want to listen to Ryan's questions when he asked me in the beginning, because I wanted it to flow. I didn't want to stay thinking about, well, what is that question he's going to ask me? But because he asked me and I didn't know, I wasn't prepared for it mentally, I was able to let it flow. So just let it flow. If you want to do a show and you have something to talk about, just do it. Trivia's Inspirational Radio is an amazing place to start. I'm only a year and a couple months in. I'm really a year and a month in, and we're still learning this together. For Trivia's Inspirational Radio, I don't know about anybody else. We're going to start doing little workshops where the host will be able to participate and learn how to deliver a productive interview, or how to market their platform and how to invite guests. So it's just like Nike, just do it.
Yes, just do it. Just do it. Thank you for that encouragement. How many people are just going to do it? Maybe not yet. Some people. Okay. I have another question in the chat from Keese. How prevalent is childhood trauma and the issues we face as adults?
That's a good one.
That's good. You both can give us something on that.
I'll say this, you know, pain does not, you cannot, if you don't confront it, pain does not die, right? It doesn't get buried, it just grows roots, right? You got to confront it and you got to deal with it, right? You got to process it, and you got to be able to identify your own triggers, your own, you know, whatever would connect you to be triggered by some of the things that you went through in your past. And as you get older, those things get harder to deal with. So as more time goes by, you got further to walk back, right? And you got to go through certain things, right? Because you'll make mistakes out of your pain. Your vision is going to be distorted out of your pain. The way you see life is going to be through your pain. You know, my therapist told me that your perfect reality that I am trying to build is built off of something that I brought to life in my past, because I was never taught the true reality of my day-to-day, my family, right? What life really looks like, what failure really looks like, what change really looks like. I was not taught those healthy transitions. So in my mind, I'm thinking that this future that I'm trying to get to, this perfect image that I set in my mind through pain, it's unattainable. And I had begun to race after something that I was never going to be able to reach. So when you look through, when you're going to be looking through the lens of a distorted vision or pain, you know, ironing out those wrinkles, or addressing some of the things that are going on in your heart, and some of the things that went on in your past is beneficial, because you clear up your vision and you get a chance to interpret your reality correctly.
Okay, and I just want to be clear on the question. So can you read that one more time?
Yes, I can. How prevalent is childhood trauma and the issues we face as adults?
First of all, it's very prevalent, and we have to know that it's prevalent. It's more important than anything that we can ever do, because our childhood trauma, if we're not aware of it, can hinder us from getting to our greatness and our destiny.
Yeah.
For me, just knowing that I went through some things, and I'm always the forgiving type, so I never knew that I was still dealing with childhood trauma. But once I realized that I had to make some decisions.
Yeah.
And when you know that you have dealt with some things in the past, whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, those things creep up. They tend to creep up in your workplace. They tend to creep up in your marriage. They tend to creep up even in parenting. And when I realized that my childhood trauma was impacting so many things, I stopped looking at the people. And it's in the Bible when it says the people are not your enemy. But I stopped looking at individuals and I started looking at, well, how is this situation a product of what I went through as a kid? And is it the right way to look at it? And now that I look at it, I know that it's important because I'm not afraid. Now, if you're that kid that was hiding in the closet and didn't know why, and then you're an adult and you don't know how to relate to people, you start understanding the connection and the importance of it. And now I'm pushing through that because I run away from relationships because I don't want to feel hurt and pain. It's important to identify what you went through as a kid so that when you're an adult, which it's going to trickle down, it's going to catch up with it at some point. But when you're an adult, you'll know how to deal with it as an adult would deal with it. I was listening to something that Ryan said, and I'm just playing the other end of the fence when you say, just communicate and how to relate to a male who has gone through certain things. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm lashing out because of what I went through. But you have to find that balance of what happened to me and why are we lashing out as individuals? Why am I lashing out at you? Why are you lashing out at me? And that's in the workplace, that's in the home, that's in even going to church. Like a lot of people don't understand when you go to church, you have all of this baggage from when you were a kid and you have these expectations, and it really doesn't have to be that bad. So when you identify what your childhood was like and realize that doesn't have to be your adulthood, then chains begin to break.
Yeah. I will also say, real quick, you go, like you said, you go everywhere you go, or your pain goes everywhere you go. But your past and your pain illuminates in your blind spots. So when you don't know you're being a certain way. You don't know how you're being received from other people. And because your vision is distorted, it's hard to see how you're coming off. It's hard to see what way you're being. And all of those things are going to be in your blind spots.
Oh my goodness. I love this. Keys, you done opened up. Once you pop, fun don't stop. Because Aces and then Kendra, thank you so much for that resource. I'm just gonna add this little piece. One of my mentors says, like, one of our biggest ministries is to minister to the pain of that child. Mm-hmm. We're all given pain. We're all chosen. We don't need to go that deep, but we all have experienced pain. Let's say that. And you are all on the other side of a pain. Raise your hands if you are on the other side of a pain, something that has hurt before, and you're on the other side of it. Maybe not maybe not what you're receiving right now, but you have been through something and you're on the other side of it right now. Let me get a hand, a clap, something, me in the chat, just to let me know, because nobody's alone in here. So if we don't see a reaction, it's because somebody's keyboard is broken or they stepped away to go to the bathroom. Okay. Because everybody has experienced pain. Thank you so much, Keys, for that question, because I feel like as we think about it, then maybe we can see that what we've learned, is time for us to reach and then teach. And if you're not ready for your own platform, Ryan has dropped the links for his podcast below. And I have another question. This is for trivia. I am so proud of you. Where did you find your voice to be so vulnerable? Can you share what steps you took in addition to your spiritual base?
Whew, that was a loaded question. I am still finding my voice. I believe that I became vulnerable through my pain, because I remember early on being a mother, being told if you don't talk about it, if you keep it inside, it's going to destroy you. And I started talking about things that I didn't even know that were in me. But when it comes to different platforms, it was groups like Toastmasters. I started Toastmasters in 2019. I became an author in 2019. I did things that I never thought that I would. And it wasn't until 2021 where I believe that my voice started being heard. And I still fight with that today. Like, even though I know that my voice is being heard, that inner child in me is saying, no, they're not listening to you. No, you're not important. And I talk about that about my name a lot. And if you look at my picture, I have to keep looking at me to remind myself I am important. I do have a voice. People are listening to me. And that breaks that cycle of not allowing my fears to overtake me. So even though I still deal with a lot of the childhood traumas that I've gone through, I don't let them hold me back, because I know that there's a greater purpose. And even now, I believe that God is doing some things with my voice that I would never ever do. Even though I'm allowing things to happen, I'm like, okay, God, you're in control. But my inner self is saying, girl, you got a voice, use it.
All right. In the chat, we have Keys. We're listening to you, Trivia. Listen, I love the love that's coming through in the chat. We got an amen. One of our greatest ministries is ministering to our child's pain. Yes, because the children are our now. Okay, so I'm just your voice is healing me. I need you to receive this. It's very important that not only that you see it, but that you hear it. Okay, this is a great discourse. Thank you. So I'm going to scroll up because I saw another question. It came from Mrs. Angela Hamlin, and it went a little something like this. Since you mentioned church, what are some tools or strategies in dealing with church hurt?
Woo. Prayer. Fast. And I'm not even gonna say just joking, but for those of you who don't know me, I am a pastor's wife, and I've been a pastor's wife for quite some time, and I can write a book on church hurt. However, my first experience with church hurt was when my sister was younger and she was hurt in church. And I never knew why she stopped going to church, and still to this day, she doesn't go. So I always just think about that in terms of, as a leader, what can I do to someone or for someone who has experienced church hurt? If we go to churches and they have that position of, well, it's just hurt, you don't have to not come to church, then we're taking the wrong position. We have to minister in a way to people from our brokenness. But that's number one. We have to understand that everybody is human. So if we've hurt somebody in the church, if we've been hurt in the church, we have to practice forgiveness, because when we forgive ourselves, when we forgive those who hurt us, we're able to walk in the things that God called us to walk in, and we can walk into a church and not even worry about the people that's in the church. I'm gonna say, being a pastor's wife and dealing with church hurt looks like this great magnified thing in this big glass. And now that I'm on the other side of the church hurt, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that serious. So you also have to look at you as an individual and how are you responding to the church hurt? Because if you respond to the church hurt through your pain, it's going to be hard to get through it. But if you respond to it in a place of, you know what, I just want to better myself, then it looks different. It feels different. It doesn't take the hurt away. Don't get me wrong. but it helps you to be able to receive it. And I will say this, and this is just a transparent moment. I went through something very major in church, and people were asking me, well, how are you still going there? Because it's not about people, it's about my relationship with God and what I believe. So if he called you to a place, because I was the church hopper, most people were club hopping, I was church hopping because I couldn't find my place. But when I realized I had issues within me, the people no longer became my issue. So I did a lot of praying, a lot of fasting, a lot of forgiving.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I have John, you have found your voice. Just embrace it, believe it, and leave it. Brian, did you want to
chime in on church hurt? So I don't have a church home, and I have attended a few services here and there at a few different locations, but I was not there long enough to experience church hurt. Now, I will say that in the past, my parents did, well, my mother did. And because of that, we didn't go back. And it's going on with 25 years for me now. But that does not mean that I don't have a relationship with Father. I will also say this though, with church hurt, if you can see the fact that in the church is the house of the broken, and there are broken people in the church. They are humans being. That means that you are going to be hurt by someone. Someone's going to say something to you that is going to come from a broken mouth, right? Or you're going to experience something from a broken person. And if that is expected, not to say that it won't hurt, but it could change the way that you process that hurt, right? Then also forgiving, as Trivia mentioned, is also a big deal. And then lastly, I really feel that if you honestly understand why you're there, right? First of all, I don't want anyone to stay planted in a situation that you feel like you have to leave out of, right? So for me, my biggest thing is rejection is direction. So if you're rejected, then that's the direction you need to go somewhere else. But if you can understand that you're going to, no matter where you go, there's going to be pain. You're going to experience a broken person. That's normal because humans are imperfect. And if you can forgive and understand that the reason why you're there to begin with is for relationship and not to be friends, right, with the people in the congregation, if you can understand that humans are going to be there, being human, then it changes the way that you process some of the encounters that you'll experience. Why am I talking in the mic like that? I'm sorry.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. I will also, I'm sorry, y'all. I will also like to add, you know how when you go seek out a therapist and, even the means of therapy, some people don't like talk therapy. Sometimes they want horse therapy, so just because you see one bad therapist, it might not be the one for you, If you need therapy, check out a few. Anybody else? I'm actually going to transition this Q&A to our president, Mr. Robert Tyree, and then we have the information for dues in the chat, but our treasurer just came on, and he, with his amazing self, is going to be amplifying his voice not one but 2 times this week. Holding it down for us at the competition, the contest, in a couple days. So I would like for him, after the question and answer, to come up on to the spotlight and to let us know about dues and to also let us know how we can support you throughout the week. Thank you so much for allowing me to facilitate that portion of our question and answer. And thank you for today.
Thank you, Natasha. You did an amazing job. Amazing host for the Q&A. I'm going to try to do my best in my Q&A voice. So, all right, y'all. We're looking to see if we have any other individuals that would like to ask any questions. I'm going to try to look in the chat. Don't be shy. Thank you.
I would like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Eva.
First of all, good evening to everyone that's out there in our Toastmasters Club meeting. Trivia and Ryan. From pain to purpose. And from knowing you, Trivia, when you first walked in, quiet, shy, didn't want to say anything. Ryan, you would just come back and sit in the cut and listen. Didn't participate at all. It amazes me how you all have come out of the box, opened it up, unwrapped it, and doing your purpose to help others, to elevate other people, to love up on people. I'm sitting here like I'm writing and jotting my notes down because it's very helpful to me to be able to pass it on to others. I deal with a lot of young people, me too, myself. I'm sorry about my language, but I myself is the first lady of City of Hope Missionary Baptist Church. My husband always put me out there when I want to be behind the scenes. Toastmasters is the platform for me. Ever since I joined, now he wants Mother's Day for me to give the message. I said, I'll give you a sermonette. I'll try to do a sermonette. And he just told me last week, and I said, 2 weeks. What I said to him was, Jesus wept. That's my title. I don't even know where I'm going with that. He said, you can go somewhere with that. Kudos to you both for doing what your purpose is in spite of your pain. Now that your pain is behind you, you have opened up so many doors. And I know Trivia is an educator, and Ryan, you with Robert is an educator as well, dealing with those young minds. And that's where we need to capture our young people. We're living in different times. We got to get those young minds and continue. And one question that I did have before I do stop, I don't know if either one of y'all, why is it so hard for especially African-American males to seek therapy? Well, mental illness, one of the things, or just depression or stress.
Well, I think the way that it was explained to me, you know, my aunt, she mentioned to me that therapy was not something that Black folks did in the past. You know, as a matter of fact, it wasn't even offered to us back in the 70s and 80s. And we knew little about it, and we didn't want anyone to, see our pain, know our pain, or understand our pain. So because of that, through generations that went on, we were all taught that that's not the route you should take. But because of that, we built insecurities that were, remember we talked about burying pain, right? It doesn't die, it just grows roots. So the pain had grew roots, and it was connected to so many things, so many insecurities were birthed. And it was hard to kind of walk that line back to untangle some of those roots, some of those knots. So, I was told in therapy, to be honest with you, you're met with two extremes. One, this is too much to deal with, so I'm not going to do it at all. Or two, you deal with it, in an overzealous fashion, right? You're too, I guess, 0 to 100 real quick, if that makes any sense, right? But it's one of those things. It's a conditioning thing, we're conditioned to not go that route. We're conditioned to not be vulnerable, right? We're conditioned to shut up and just deal with it. I'm gonna take it back to my favorite song. What Music Soul Child say? I was taught the true definition of a man was to never cry, right? Not to provide, right? It was written in our minds. Be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means. It was like if we were feeling anything other than that, something was wrong, but we just didn't say it and we buried it. And it still continued to grow roots. It was compounded pain, man. It was pain on top of pain on top of pain. And it was at that point hard to deal with. And then when you found out, I'm going to wild out or I'm going to deal with it. Which one you going to do? So I just think it's conditioning.
Thank you. Trivia, would you have something for the ladies?
Oh, I was about to say, I can't speak on no man because I don't understand them. I honestly can't speak on that as a whole. I've attempted therapy a lot of times, and being a college student and having psychology as my major, I think when I walk in a room, I'm always challenging the therapist mentally. But it's definitely needed and it's definitely wanted, but you have to get out of your own mindset first and be able to receive what they have, because that's what the purpose of, so for me, a therapist is great. But if I can talk to Miss Eva because I know Miss Eva has gone through something, that's therapy to me. If I can talk to Miss Eva because I know she's a pastor's wife and I'm a pastor's wife, that's therapy to me. So instead of me paying my money and sitting in a room, I'm gonna find people who I know that I can relate to, and I'm gonna talk it out. And that's amplifying your voice, to be honest, because if you have someone that you know is going to listen because they've been through your situation, it helps. It's a release. So I can't really speak on the therapy side because I know a lot of women who do it. My mentality won't allow me to.
Thank you both. Great podcast. I'll be joining you all. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Miss Eva. I love hearing your voice. Anytime you speak, amazing questions for our former president. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have time for one more question. Do we have any friends that want to come off the mic and ask these two individuals? Come on, Tyrone.
Since you both are now in the forms of podcasting and now radio, and you have made some inroads from what I could glean, what energizes you to keep going beyond meeting a need and seeing a need to be met?
Well, season 2, I believe we're always going through something, right? And Father heals. I believe Father heals in cycles. So you cycle up, right? And each cycle brings new challenges, right? Each level brings new devils, and there's always something to overcome. So there's always going to be something to talk about. And now that I know that, my podcast is a outlet for me to release, I'm on there talking about the things that I go through constantly and on each level that I make it to, so it's easy to continue.
For me, I don't want to do this. I found every reason to give up, but then a whole year later, I believe I found my purpose. And because I found my purpose, it motivates me to keep on going and not just have a platform that other people can come on and use their voice, but it's also given me purpose because I'm understanding the reality of being a business owner. I have a nonprofit, but the radio station to me is bigger than just me being an owner of something, but it's helping me to find my identity. Whenever I hear somebody come on the radio and I'm like, wow, this is Trivia's inspirational radio. Or if somebody has something that they need to do and it's outside of the realm of things, I have that mindset to say, oh, I can give you extra time, or I can change your date, or I can do this or that. And it gives me the motivation to keep going because I know that if they go to another radio station, they won't have that liberty. They won't have that freedom. So I want to get to them with the mindset that station and it doesn't have any meaning to it.
Thank you for that amazing response. And listen, once again, we just thank Trivia and Ryan for just opening up their platforms and just pouring out into us. I know that we've received so many gems and nuggets, and I'm so inspired. I think I'll be taking that leap of faith to try to do both, be involved in both platforms. So hold me to my word. So can we give just one more round of applause for our two speakers? Come on, y'all, come off from mute. Drop some.
Ooh, yes.
Listen.
Great
Awesome.
job. Awesome sauce.
Well done.
Yes.
MSU is on the rise. If you guys probably are going to be international, so you guys can change your title, international trivia, international rhyme. We are doing some amazing things at MSU Toastmasters. All right. So I want to pass it on to my dear friend Olio, and he will have the pleasure to speak briefly about our opportunities to be a member at the MSU family. So Olio, do you have a second where you can? That's my guy. Come on, Olio, do your thing, sir.
Hey y'all, I'm actually, as y'all see, I'm actually speaking with the man with the setup, is helping everything with the competition. That's what y'all see right here. So both. Hey everybody. So he says hi to everybody. So that's what the setup that we're doing right now. Competition. Hey, everyone is going to be tomorrow for the table topics competition and Thursday for the international speech competition. Definitely message Robert Tyree or Natasha for the links. I'll be making sure they have them. You can also message me. And I just want to let everyone know about this beautiful club with Morgan State University. It's not $50 a week, not $50 a month. It's not even $50 an hour. To be a part of this club, it's only $50 one time for returning members for 6 months. Not $50 every month. It covers 6 months. And guess what? If you're a brand new member, you only pay an extra $25 for your first time fee. It's only $75. Remember, this is tax deductible. You can write this right off for your taxes. And on top of that, your network is your net worth. Like you just heard today, the relationships that you'll get, the experience that you make are invaluable. It's an incredible club. It's changed my life. Now I'm doing this competition that he's helping me set up literally tomorrow. And I would not be able to do this had I not joined this club and for this leadership, like with Robert Tyree. So I actually already sent the Cash App, MSUTM, to be a member. And for PayPal, it's Morgan State Toastmasters Club at gmail.com. Listen, this is the time. Registration is now. Join today, right? And earn your wings and grow. Come speak. But remember, if you just want to be guests, it's always free to join. Tell all your friends and family members it's free to attend all the meetings. But when you want to start leveling up and taking it to the next level, here's my quote for you. Don't fear failure, but be terrified of regret. Robert, that's my time.
Listen, my guy is on another meeting, making sure that he is right. We will be sending out the links tomorrow morning. We might get to tonight. I know that we have flyers also. So Olio, we want to come support you. I believe, if I'm correct, the table topics will be on YouTube, so you'll be able to access that. But the international, you will have to register for. So if you want to access that, we're going to be sending out both links. But come support. Olio is doing an amazing job. Once again, I remember when Olio started, and if you know Olio, once he gets into his flow, and he saw he's already in his flow already, there's no stopping him. So we're excited. He has progressed every single year. And sir, this is your season. Like Tyrone said, we're trying to bring back some hardware. So y'all, listen, y'all about to make me cry. I know we're still live, but I told you this is gonna be the one. Listen, we have some amazing speakers, right? And we seen them, and they have been doing it for years. But these two right here, I know improper ebonics. I'll be teaching tomorrow morning, ELA 3rd grade, going back into space. But this one right here, this is different. So thank you once again, y'all. Your time, your efforts, and the time that you guys spent on this. I'm excited, y'all. So listen, this is the closing remarks. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, there are more things to come. This is just the beginning stages. We have opportunity for growth. We have opportunity for membership. We are. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it, girl. Yes, I would love to open up the floor for announcements or for guests as well before we leave. Shauna, You know what? I was about to. So listen, everyone in this chat are doing amazing things. And I think Shauna might want to let you guys know what some things that are going on. And after her, just raise your hand and we'll call on you. We want to hear what you're doing so we can support as well. Shauna, take it away.
Yes, no problem, Mr. Prez. Definitely want to hear from our guests before they leave and get to know them. So before I pass the mic over, I wanted to just announce that I would be speaking tomorrow at the Growth Beyond Me Women in Tech event in partnership with Morgan State University's Office of Entrepreneurship and the investment arm of the state of Maryland, TEDCO. So there will be a panel discussion at the Cube Co-work 4709 Harford Road. It will be from 6 to 8 p.m. I'm going to drop the details in the chat. It's not virtual, it's in person, but would love all your support from anyone that's interested. This is a place, I would say this, that Toastmasters is a place that I came 2 years ago to develop my voice and to become a more confident speaker so that I can sit on panels and impact more women and girls and bring them to science, technology, engineering, innovation, and math. So I'll pass it on to our guests.
Do we have any guests with any amazing things that's going on? Don't be shy. We trying to support. We're trying to support.
Or just who you are. I see, I don't want to call nobody out, but I see some unfamiliar faces. Temple Stokes. I see a CP Hill.
Sean, let's do this. If you can, right? Just hop off the mic. Tell us who you are. Give us like one fun fact. And how did you hear about MSU Toastmasters? And our favorite question is, will you be returning?
All right, well, I'll go. My name is Temple Stokes. I'm a social support manager for Empower. I've been with them for over a month. So when I came to them, before I came to them, I was a director for the Y, and I had to do a lot of public speaking, which I didn't do good with. So that was one of my goals because I would like to be a director again. So I said, I want to get good practice. So my director referred me to you all, actually. So yeah, let me see. Fun fact, I have twins and they'll be 20 years old this year. All right. Thank y'all. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you, Temple, for sharing. Sean, do you see anybody else that?
Well, first, welcome, Temple. Nice meeting you. And I see CP Lander, C Hill Lander. Philander, C Philander.
Hi guys. Yes, well, my name is Carlton Philander and I actually work in emergency management, and part of my job is to educate the educators that go out to high schools and prepare, give emergency preparedness to staff. And I actually heard about you guys from my wife, believe it or not. She heard about, she's actually studying to do her PhD, and she heard about you guys. And she said, hey, this will be a good thing for you to get into. So this is my first time here. Awesome experience, awesome speakers, and I will be returning. Unfortunately, I don't have any fun facts, but I'll do some more research. Maybe I'll come up with something.
Well, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Do we have the guests in the building?
I think that's it.
I'm a guest.
All right.
Hello, my name is Ashley McFadden. So I'm a hospitality management professional. I did graduate from Morgan. I heard about Toastmasters from Olio, and I definitely want to get into public speaking because I do have a story and I do want to amplify my voice. So I will be joining and becoming a member. So I'll send a cash app.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, come on, clap it up. Listen, it's like a new member. You gotta clap it up and get excited. Listen, thank you, Shauna. You are amazing. The energy. I'm glad. My mind. You always bring me in, so that's always good.
We gotta hold each other down.
Listen, I think it's time
lift each other up. Holding them down is giving them a weight.
Okay, I like that. I can change the language. Lift each other up.
Listen, I think it's time. We're going to speak it to existence. We need a networking event because there's so many individuals in here that are doing amazing things. Our educators, Natasha and our educators as well. We in the schools. We got Keith that work with youth. Listen. Opportunities are available, but we're going to create a. Yes, come on, Sean. She's dropping a link. Man, so many things that are so amazing is going on, and I also have Michelle, who is our amazing. Michelle's actually from Australia, and she is a part of our district advisor. So thank you, Michelle, for coming in and just showing up. You've been consistent and faithful, so I appreciate you, Michelle. So, and y'all listen, we're not going to belabor the time. Like Ms. Eva would say, we're right on time. We do have a meeting next Monday, so if you enjoyed this, get ready for next Monday at 6:45, and we'll be starting at 7:00. So, thank y'all for showing up and showing out.
One more thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
I see Miss Temple Stokes said she will be joining as well. Let's give her some.
Miss Eva, I was looking for the bell. Come on, Temple. Listen.
Thank you all. This is nice.
Welcome.
And we'll be speaking also more. We have some upcoming opportunities for new officers because we'll be transitioning soon. Thank you, Trivia. Thank you, Ryan, as well. So if we're just excited because if you thought this year was amazing, wait till you see next season. So we're just gearing up. I feel like we like to got picked a show. Can't say that show. Amazing new show, right? Season finale, right about to end, but we're about to be rebooted for the next season. So I had certain shows in my head we can't even talk about no more, But listen, we're gonna end it right now. Y'all, thank y'all for the amazing opportunity. We're gonna end the live. We'll still be on as well. So Temp, I want to get your information. Also,